name is Vernon Fisher, and presently I've been working with blackboards, but I started out doing narrative paintings, which consisted of text, sort of photorealist paintings combined with various objects and so forth, and that kind of what led me to the blackboards, in that the blackboards showed up first as a component of the narrative pieces. When the blackboards showed up as a component of another thing, they seemed to reach out to me in some kind of way. Once you frame something as a blackboard, there's a whole constellation of associations that come with that. You know, it expects to be written on, and you also expect it to be erased. The fact that it looks like it can be erased is important because it makes the blackboard feel vulnerable. And people, they're afraid to touch the blackboards because they still can't believe that it's not chalk, you know. This is an idea that occurred to me probably a year ago. I was interested in all these early comic strips like George Harriman, Bud Fisher. And you see these early comic strips and they're all kind of like slapstick. I mean, they're sort of nonsensical. All that happens in the 4 frames that would appear on the Sunday strip would be some confrontation and some guy ends up in the corner with a black eye, motion lines around him, and stars. So I'm saying these characters are seeing stars. And I thought that the motion lines that you see around the characters, like these swirly lines and stuff, reminded me of the same kind of thing, the lines you see in Starry Night, the famous painting by Van Gogh. So that was the beginning of the idea. So I collected cartoon images with motion lines and stars, which you mostly find in the beginning of the comic world, you know, early 20th century. Next thing I had to find, or felt the need to find, was a map, and I needed an archaic map. I mean, I looked through a lot of maps, but finally I found a map that actually had stars, which you don't see in modern star maps, okay? So I found it in an old book. So then I'm thinking, well, what can happen that way? Association with stars, well, Mount Palomar, an observatory where you look at stars, okay? So I start off, I've got the map, I've got the blackboard, I paint Mount Palomar, and then it's open like this, and it makes a kind of slot. And so then I think, okay, that slot's interesting. So then I waited around. A month later, I find this piggy bank of Mickey Mouse, and this got a slot too. And then people in observatories are looking at stars. These guys are seeing stars. And then I photographed Mickey where he's looking at the whole array of things, and he's looking at the thing looking at stars. So it kind of completes the whole picture, okay? Finally, Mount Palomar, the image I chose is the light is raking from left to right, so you can tell it's very late in the day, and it's that kind of golden hour when we all feel poignant about the end of things. So I photographed this little bank in the same light, left to right, so you have these long shadows, and you get the same sort of poignancy from the fact that these shadows, like the ear is cast across the face of the back of the head, and you get that same feeling. So it's kind of got this sort of poignancy or sadness about it, okay? At the same time, most of the stuff is kind of funny and ironic, you know? And that's kind of a signature for all the work in the show, is that there's this combination of a moment of distress or sadness, leavened with humor and so forth, you know. I have thousands and thousands, probably 10,000 images already on file in my computer or in folders, and I add to it weekly, you know. And basically what I'm doing is on a kind of treasure hunt. So I just wait till things kind of connect, and then I wait longer, and then something else connects, and then finally I kind of put it all together. It comes out of the concept of, I think it's called embodied cognition, that we basically make our way through the world with the information that we get from bodily experiences. You know, oh, I'm feeling up today, okay? So if you really watch your language, you realize that you describe the world in words that have physical kind of beginnings, okay? And so taxonomy or categorical kind of things really make a lot of sense for these paintings because they really are examining how our minds work. Not in any scientific sense, but at some kind of intuitive kind of level, yeah.
My name is Debbie Long, and in this exhibition the medium is predominantly cast glass, but I've used a lot of mediums over the years. I also use a lot of wax. I use glass less for the medium itself and more to access light in the work. It's really recent, and who knows if I'll continue to use it after this. I'm kind of just feeling my way through it, and I did an apprenticeship in a bronze casting foundry after undergraduate school. So I learned how to cast, but I wanted to work with light. And so I was trying all these different materials to try to access light, including painting and trying to paint light. But really what I wanted was something real in the physical world that I could make. I actually got an old kiln from a friend and wired a little computer to it and started teaching myself to cast glass, which is really similar to bronze, like the metal casting process, but I wanted to get color and light in the actual object. And so it was just kind of a continuation of everything that I was doing, you know. I mean, as I learned more and more techniques, I kind of just used what I had and tried to figure out how to get light into the objects that I was making. I find things from my environment that are around. You know, where I live in New Mexico, it's the desert. There's a lot of, you know, junkyards and this kind of stuff around. But really, it's kind of like a collage artist. You know, I pick a whole bunch of stuff to use just as a place to start, not because of particular meaning in the images themselves. And I also go a lot by feel. You know, I like the way something looks. I like the curve of it. I like what I think it can do formally, you know. And then I think what happens really is that, you know, once I take these objects and cast them, then I hand build them, I repeat them, and they start to disappear. A lot of people look at this piece and they don't ever see what the image is. It's kind of on the edge of the image being obliterated. I think using the images is nice because that might be your way to enter into the work, you know. I like that. I like how it's kind of populist in that way. You know? Originally, my choice of materials, like I said, was to try to get at light and color, and the way it operates in the physical world rather than as part of a painting. So the way I've been doing that is to try to make the pieces larger. So this piece you can stand in front and you experience it with your body. You know, it's large enough that you have an interaction with it. And where that was going was really to this box piece, which is about an environment where you're more surrounded by the color and the light. What I'm trying to get at is a work that's experiential, that's about being there. You know, that's about experiencing it with your body. That the experience is not the same as seeing a picture of it. The larger they get and the more they are in little rooms, I think the more that happens. It's about being there. And I think for some reason that's what drives me. It's a lot more about creating an experience where, you know, it's about actually being in that space in that moment. Because a lot of these works change as the light changes over the day. You know, they're different if you're 6 feet tall than if you're 4.5 feet tall. I really like experimenting with that language, which is the language that has to do with your body being in the space. I think it's great that we can see all this work on the internet, and it's really easy to see all kinds of images. These are really about standing in front of them, that being there. So.